Welcome back. Coming up next on Kong, stocks are making wild swings this morning after opening in bear market territory. And President Trump is showing no signs of backing down from increased tariffs and a global trade war, despite economists warning we could see a so-called Black Monday. Also, breaking news out of Chicago, where a settlement was reached hours after Boeing was due in court. The plane maker was headed to civil trial over two deadly crashes. King 5's Savannah Welch will join us before a live update coming up in just a few moments. And you've got just a month left to go to get into compliance with a new federal law if you plan to fly for a trip. But state officials say you may have already what you need. We'll break down what to know ahead of the real ID deadline. Good morning to you. We have lots to get to, but Rich, you are back with us. We are getting very, very missed. Back. So welcome back.
It's good to be back. I missed you guys. I did.
We missed you. Exactly. And welcome back with the rain, too, just in time for you coming back to work. So how are things looking for today?
Wet.
Wet. Yes, it is.
Very simple forecast. Wet today. We do have, after that rain returned yesterday afternoon, some steady rain overnight, and then now we're having bands of showers move through. You can see the one that moved through earlier is off into the Cascade now, and the next one is starting to move up the sound. So you might be seeing a couple sun breaks farther north at this point, but you can look for the showers to pick back up again, and that's pretty much what we're going to be looking for today, is those kind of rotate in off the system off the coast. So for today, off and on showers. It's going to turn breezy at times this afternoon and evening. High temperatures today in the mid-50s. Looks like a wet Tuesday, but we're going to dry out and warm up a bit as we head towards midweek. We'll have that forecast coming up.
Let's get back to that breaking news out of Chicago right now, where we have just learned a settlement has now been reached in the first civil trial related to two Boeing 737 MAX 8 crashes that killed 346 people. King 5's Savannah Welch is live outside Boeing's Renton factory where these planes were built. She's following this closely. Savannah, what can you tell us?
Well, Christine, we know a settlement was reached late last night. We're still waiting to hear from lawyers after this morning's hearing in Chicago wraps up. This was related to a civil case. This was related to the 737 MAX 8 crash that happened in Ethiopia. That was back in 2019. That crash was the second of two MAX 8 crashes that happened less than a year apart, one in 2018 and one in 2019. Boeing has already agreed to take responsibility for both crashes. Now, as of this morning, we don't know the terms of the settlement Boeing will pay in damages to the surviving family members of the two victims who died. We do know, though, that the company is also in the middle of renegotiating its plea deal with the DOJ for the criminal trial in the two crashes. The original deal fell apart after a federal judge rejected it earlier this year. One of the sticking points, Boeing wanted to appoint its own corporate monitor. That was met with severe backlash from victim families. Again, the hearing is still underway. We're waiting to hear back from lawyers, and they said that they'll give a statement as soon as they're out of court. It looks like they're still in there. As of right now, they've been in court since 6:30 this morning Pacific time, 8:30 Central time. So we'll keep you updated as soon as we learn any new details. In Renton, Savannah Welch, King 5 News.
Thanks, Savannah. Also this morning, global stocks are tumbling with another day of panic trading on Wall Street as the Trump administration doubles down on tariffs. Right now, we are seeing some wild swings after U.S. stocks opened in bear market territory. So take a look. You can see that the Dow Jones is right now only down about 9 points. It's really been up and down for the past maybe half an hour or so. S&P 500, NASDAQ currently trending up right now. But upon opening about an hour and a half ago, when the markets opened, the S&P 500 fell 3.8%. Dow Jones Industrial Average was dropping over 1,300 points earlier this morning. Again, there are some swings right now. Some economists are also warning that this could be a potential possible repeat of 1987's Black Monday, when the Dow plummeted over 22% in one day. However, we have a long day of trading left, so we're going to keep watching this. Analysts blame Trump's sweeping new tariffs for causing all of this incredible sell-offs that we saw late last week. A universal 10% tariff on all U.S. imports is now in effect. And this Wednesday, additional tariffs on products from dozens of other countries are set to begin. Experts agree the duties might help certain domestic producers, but most mainstream economists agree they will lead to higher prices for you.
Basically, at this point, you average all these different companies together who put forecasts out on the chance of a recession. It's about 50-50.
I don't want anything to go down. but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something.
President Trump says he only wants to make deals with countries that close trade deficits with the U.S. He insists tariffs will be good for Americans in the end. And while you were sleeping, Asian markets crashed in response to the tariffs. In Hong Kong, the key stock index had its worst trading day in nearly 30 years. Markets in Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Australia, and New Zealand all reported losses this morning. In fact, at one point, Japan's Nikkei index plunged so quickly it triggered an automatic halt to trading. The Nikkei closed down 8% on the day. European markets are also seeing losses of about 5%. And over the weekend, thousands nationwide gathered for hands-off rallies protesting President Trump's economic policies and aggressive cuts to the federal government. There was a huge turnout on Saturday near the Washington Monument in D.C., in addition to crowds in Boston, Atlanta, Los Angeles, and more. Protesters held signs that read, "Hands off our democracy" and "Hands off our Social Security." And many lawmakers stood with them, calling for change in the White House. In response, the White House said in an email that President Trump will always protect Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid for eligible beneficiaries. Here in Washington state, thousands joined in protests across the region. Viewers sent in these photos. You can see crowds in Bellingham, Mount Vernon, and hundreds in Leavenworth. And in Olympia, a bird's eye view gives us a look at the demonstration outside the state capitol and across the Capitol campus. Meanwhile, at the Seattle Center, an estimated 25,000 people made their voices heard, sending a strong message to the Trump administration.
The power of America lies in its populace and in its people, not in a handful of billionaires.
I feel a positive motivation and a real excitement to join the movement.
Some familiar faces were also in the crowd, including U.S. Representative Pramila Jayapal and former Washington Governor Jay Inslee.
My message is we would hope you would resign, but if you don't, we're telling you we're not going to surrender here. We're not going to let Elon Musk buy us, and we're not going to let Donald Trump bully us.
The rally, spearheaded by the group Seattle Indivisible, was one of over 1,300 held across the country. New this morning, a chase involving the King County Sheriff's Office ended in a crash near the Woodland Park Zoo. This was just after 2 o'clock this morning. Deputies tried to pull over a person driving a stolen car, but the driver took off. Officers used a pit maneuver to stop the driver on Aurora near North 59th Street. This is right near Green Lake in Seattle. They were injured in the crash, but are expected to be okay. Deputies say the driver has a felony warrant. Turning to our forecast now to start off the week, drizzly and rainy out there right now, Rich.
It is a little wet out there. We've been watching bands of showers move through and soak things down. One early started off the commute early this morning. That's kind of slid out towards the Cascades now, and we do have this next one starting to push its way up from the south right now, and we're going to be seeing that keep us wet pretty much through the day today. Take a look at our forecast. You can see there for the Central Sound, we're going to be looking for a chance of some showers. Should be some sun breaks moving in this afternoon. High temperatures today getting into the low to mid 50s. Farther to the south around the Sound, we're going to be looking for about the same. It does look like we're going to see kind of a wet day out towards the coast as well. Right now, it does look like we're going to be seeing things turn or stay wet as we head on towards tomorrow. And then as we head towards the middle part of the week, though, it looks like high pressure is going to build in. And it looks like both Wednesday and Thursday, we could have a couple of nice days with some sunshine and those highs pushing into the 60s. We'll take a look at the details of that coming up in just a couple minutes.
Thank you, Rich. This morning, a man is dead after stealing 2 cars and leading officers on a chase through Pierce County. Investigators say the man was shot and killed by police after he got out of a stolen car with a weapon. This all started Saturday afternoon as a carjacking just outside of Tacoma. Minutes later, that stolen car was involved in a 4-car crash that sent several people to the hospital. Then police learned of a second carjacking leading to a chase that ended on Valley Avenue.
I kind of had an idea something kind of crazy was definitely probably happening. And then, next thing you know, you hear some gunshots, and it's a little scary for sure because, in this area, you typically don't really hear that.
So right now, we don't know what kind of weapon the suspect had or how many officers were involved. In Seattle, a man is in the hospital after he was shot in the chest in the Soto neighborhood yesterday morning. Seattle police say the man found deputies at the Stadium light rail station and asked for help. He was taken to Harborview in critical condition. It's unclear exactly where he was shot. Officers say they have not found a crime scene or a suspect. Also in Seattle, police are trying to figure out what led up to a man's car plunging 12 feet off of a parking structure. This was what things looked like yesterday morning in the Queen Anne neighborhood. You can also see that car ended up upside down on a patio below. The driver was taken to the hospital in serious condition. Well, coming up next for you here on KONG, the clock is ticking to make sure you are compliant with a new federal law.
Over the last couple months, we've seen more than 30,000 people each month get an enhanced document.
With exactly 1 month to go until the Real ID Act goes into effect, we're showing you how to make sure what you have what's required before your next flight. And there are just hours left now for the White House to bring a wrongfully deported man back to the United States. We're tracking the latest on the case and what a federal judge ruled just yesterday.
Good morning, I'm Farah Jadrin in for Shantae Sumter. Hope your Monday's off to a positive start. We're positive the roads are going to be wet for most of the day. This is a look at I-5 for you right now. We're going to check on any trouble areas and a check on your drive times coming up here on KONG.
King 5's First Alert Weather Cams, sponsored by Southwest Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric.